of hate from Mephisto, and this combination executed perfectly at the end of the game.
From Alarak, make it a quad kill set up by that ETC.
Wow, did you see that mosh pit? 4-man mosh pit while on a conveyor belt. That was like a regular sushi line.
Nubarak, core at 50%. Both cores are just absolutely melting. Which one's going to go down first? I think this is going to be Respect the Gooses. Oh my goodness.
Ring. Oh my goodness, the ring. Jaina just pulling up everybody here. That's a 4, make it 5
And it
for
does
nothing.
not fall up. What a play! Oh my God! Somebody please clip that.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series. It's playoff time. We're in the quarterfinals. We got a doubleheader coming in for you tonight. Had a little bit of a switch around of the schedule so that I, your host, Aero, could bring you two of some really exciting matchups. I think actually they're both number 1 versus number 8 teams. So we'll see how those go. And once again, the light is doing weird things. I'll try to fix that when we come back. But the first matchup here is coming at you from Division D East. It is between Zul'jin Distillery, the number 1 team, and ProBUs Drift. And you know what? I think I showed map numbers. I apologize. Those were definitely wrong. Those were for another set that I had forgotten to turn them off. So let's just take a quick peek here at our map bands. Team's ready to go, so we'll get through this real quick here. So Zul'jin Distillery, they started off with the bans on Battlefield of Eternity and Volskaya Foundry. ProBUs Drift started off with bans on Dragonshire and Tomb of the Spider Queen, and that's gonna bring us into our first map, which is Alterac Pass. And taking a look at the standings here, so Zul'jin Distillery, they're 31 points, so really a solid season. They snuck past the Nexus Cats there at the end. ProBUs Drift 14, just barely beating out the Frankfurters there at the end of the season to take over the 8th spot. And I'm not sure if this is correct. Let's see if the brackets show up properly. Is that right? Nope, that's not right. So we'll just get rid of that. Maybe I'll fix that after the game. But it's draft time, so let's go. Let's get this going here. See, now the light's fine here. Whatever, silly cameras. Alterac Pass, so we're going to get rid of Mal'Ganis and ETC and Diablo. We're choking out the tanks here. Important note, May is still banned, although Mal'Ganis is available. So he only had a short period of time that he was banned out for, like 5 days or so. And so that's going to put a little bit of a choke here on these tanks. So we might see a Johanna ban here if they're really focusing on that. But that leaves the opportunity for somebody like a Cassia. And taking out the Ragnaros is actually a really good play by Zul'jin Distillery. ProBUs has had a really successful run with Johanna Blessed Shield into Ragnaros Sulfuria Smash. So they kind of had to choose between one or the other. They said, you know what, let's get rid of the Ragnaros. And Ragnaros can do a lot of work on this map. Get the Lava Wave going, pushing the lanes up, making it easier to get your cavalry going. But Chaos Tank going to pick up that Johanna there right at the beginning. And it's going to be Kael'thas and Varian. And Varian is a very comfortable hero from what I recall with DeWitt. It's been a while since I've cast the Zul'jin Distillery. But that's a hero that I do remember DeWitt enjoying. So both teams having their tanks now. As we get Deckard and Li Ming. And Deckard Johanna, that's a combination that I have personally enjoyed quite a bit of. And Li Ming coming in has that reset potential, but also she's got the... When you get the Deckard roots, maybe a little bit of Johanna Condemn, you're going to see some action there. Get those big orbs coming out. And Raynor, going to be the third and final ban here for Zul'jin Distillery. Quick shout out to chat. Just want to say hello to everybody out there. We've got a moment. Tuna's here. We got Boundrix. Actually, I don't remember. I think I asked that question in an interview. Is it Boundary X or Boundrix? I thought it was Boundary X, but I don't know why I said Boundrix. We got Patience. We got Majesty coming in. Good evening. Novice Hugs. Is Lily out there? Is Wind Up Bird out there? I don't know. Malfurion gonna be the final ban here for the probes. And that's a really valuable ban. Getting the taunt coming out of Varian and then having a Malfurion route to follow up, especially with both of them potentially having the healing reduction. You've got a Gravity Leps to follow up. And instead of the Malfurion, they're gonna go into the Tyrande. Ultimately gonna give them a similar effect, being able to lock down that hero long enough to get the kill. A very strong CC chain coming out here from Zul'jin Distillery. And there's no cleanse on the side of ProBUs. Could we maybe see a Lunara? Lunara could potentially work really well. And I don't know that they're thinking about it, but Lunara could have worked really well for that 13 cleanse that she has. But instead we see the Blaze and Sylvanas. So a lot of push potential here from the ProBUs team. And Sylvanas works really well with the objective here. Cowboy Kyle, rather, coming in with the Rexar right at the end here. And now they're just fucking with me. I think that's the first time I've cussed on stream. Thanks, Zul'jin. You broke my stream record, my wholesome stream record. Like, Watanabe. Okay, so Nabe's hugs? Shugs. Shugs. Sugar. Nabe Shugs. Alright. Fair enough. So here we go, folks. Getting ready for game number 1 out of this best of 3 in the quarterfinals of the playoffs Division D East. Number 1, Zul'jin Distillery versus number 8, ProBUs Drift and Rush. While we wait for the game to load, I'm going to see if I can't update the brackets in my little bracket thing here. Or at least as much as I can. Quite the matchup last night between Bunker Fun Time and Church of Murky. If you didn't happen to catch that, you can catch the VOD. It was good set there. I believe that was D and Weenus casting that. Here we go. All right, well, while we wait for the teams to load, let's take a look at that bracket that I was mentioning, since I have it up, ready to go. Bada bing! There we go! So whichever team wins here at the top of that bracket, you see, will go on to face Bunker Fun Time. So Bunker Fun Time was the number 4 seed. They had 22 points, so a good number of points behind the Zul'jin Distillery, and of course ahead of ProBUs Drift. There's a kind of a drop-off there after the 1 and 2 of Zul'jin Distillery and Nexus Cats. So we'll see. That could be a really exciting match to watch between any of these teams. But it looks like we're all set up and ready to go. Let's get into this game. We'll start off with the home team on the left. It's Zul'jin Distillery. Gonna be DeWitt playing the Varian, led on the Tyrande ankle shot on Kael'thas there. Cowboy Kyle gonna be playing a little bit of that Rexar. And Greymane on... wait. Greymane is offline. Well, okay. Who's playing Greymane? Greymane is B-Fresh. We'll come back to B-Fresh there. We'll go ahead and introduce the rest of the team here in a moment as we get a pause. Apparently their breaker flipped, so this could be a moment as we wait on that. So, all right then. Catching up on chat here, we got some probes, we got some Zul'jin Distillery fans out there. Castile? Is it Castile? Man, I need to move this. Are you out of my way now? Hey there. And Ripper. Nabe Shugs. Nabe, what team are you on? So that I make sure that if I cast them, I remember, like, that'll be burned in my memory. Let's make sure I remember that. But anyway, while we wait on, let's see, Be Fresh to catch up here, let's take a look at those standings. So we'll talk about these teams a little bit again. So down in the bottom half of the bracket, we have the number 2 Nexus Cats going against Full Meta Jacket. And then your math teachers versus Dirk Throws These. So that's the rest of your bracket there. So 2 versus 7. Full Meta Jacket was 7. And that would be 3 and 6. Your math teachers and Dirk Throws These. Looks like we're getting the okay to move forward. So hopefully we'll be ready to go here in just a second. And it looks like we're going. Introducing the team on the right, we've got ProBUs Drift Cannon Rush. It's going to be Chaos Tank playing Johanna. We got Aruba playing the Sylvanas there. Hirobi on the... Who is that? Li Ming. Desna on the Deckard, and Blaze going to be played by Badgerlord. All right, so caught the Scouting Owl there. Not quite enough to get that full tower down, but very close. A little bit of Sylvanas early game cheese, and that should help them, if they can just get a little bit more damage onto that at some point there, that should help them to gather a slight bit of XP lead. Incorrect. A little bit of an XP lead, but more importantly, it'll help them to push that lane up a little bit with those minions, because it'll take longer for the minions to die to the tower shots. Looking at the talents we've got here, Field Study coming in from Deckard. He's going to get that spell power when he roots heroes for a long time, too. It's like 14 seconds, 16 seconds, even better. Siege Camp's coming up, and we've already got the Tyrande and Greymane heading to pick up theirs. Looks like maybe Sylvanas and Deckard heading back as well. A little bit of a spray action just to say hello to Twitch chat there. As the mages going at it in the top lane. I have to say, this slightly favors the Kael'thas from a wave clear perspective. But if Li Ming could sneak up in that bush, she could easily take that tower down. A couple of hits, and she can do it from long range as well. It looks like the first camp going to be picked up by Zul'jin Distillery. It's on its way to the mid lane here. And we'll see what Sylvanas takes at level 4. If she goes into the Merc Queen to help empower these siege camps, or if instead she goes into the killing of the minions or possession. And here comes the siege camp for ProBUs, as once again we get a pause. Looks like, oh my. We now have, it's on the other side this time. These guys know that I'm doing a double header. That's the reason why that they're shutting down their computers. So fun times as we wait on the team to gather their connections. But level 4 just came up here for Zul'jin Distillery, so we'll talk about that. Of course, the taunt. I mean, it was expected. You knew that was coming. You've got that Tyrande Lunar Flare level 1 quest. That's going to help them with that combo. And with that extra range, it just makes it easier for Tyrande to be a little bit farther back if she wants to be, a little bit safer, but also then still get those Lunar Flares for the stuns. Gravity Lapse, we do have the Nether Wind, so Kael'thas is going to be able to get those long-range stuns as well. So they're trying to make sure that they have the range of these stuns available no matter how far away they are to make sure that this combo goes up. All right, here we go. Back into the game. Welcome back, Deckard, to the game here. So mid lane's where all the significant action is. We do see here Blaze and Rexar in the bot lane, and Li Ming and Kael'thas in the top. So a little bit of little bit more damage coming in from these minions here in just a moment. As the wave in the middle here gets cleared up, both teams able to push away the siege camp. That said, Sylvanas coming up into the top lane here should allow them to now take out this tower. And there it goes. They're getting a little bit of a bump of XP. Not a ton, but it's... And it's not even really enough to do anything with right now. You're not close to level 7, so it's really just a matter of helping the lane presence for ProBUs. Now, it is up in the top lane here, and it is possession, by the way, from Sylvanas. So they're going to be able to push those lanes a little bit easier. Both teams heading to their siege camps to have those pressuring while the fight's over the prison camps. Down in the bot lane, though, Rexxar versus... Rip. Rexxar versus Blaze here. Blaze losing this a little bit. Doesn't have a whole lot of mana as First Blood going over there to Zul'jin Distillery. The combo between Kael'thas and Varian, that taunt Gravity Lapse combo. Almost certainly the deciding factor in getting that Li Ming. And it looks like just in time, ProBUs is going to be able to pick up their siege camp. Pause coming out from Johanna, so she is going to use her Iron Skin to get away. But still, this is... Now she doesn't have Iron Skin, and just barely missing on the Lunar Flare on the timing there. But if that Lunar Flare comes out a little bit earlier, I think Johanna may even die there. 1.6 seconds. This is pretty much certainly gone at this point. There it goes. Looking for the fight, trying to see if they can't maybe win a quick kill on this to help defend against that incoming cavalry. And here they come. The first cavalry of the game going over to Zul'jin Distillery. And up in the top here, so we do have Li Ming going into Calamity, so trying to get those teleport shots onto the Kael'thas. Kael'thas doesn't yet have that Mana Addict quest complete, so no shield available as the Ruby picked up here for Deckard as well. So mid lane is getting cleared up rather quickly, while top lane is going to be able to take both towers down, get a little bit of damage. Let's check in on bot lane as, once again, as mentioned earlier here, the Blaze kind of falling a little bit behind, just doesn't have the sustain, the mana sustain, to go against the fight here from Misha. But is able to clear out that cavalry before it's able to take quite everything. Rexxar and Misha will finish the job, but Badger's going to have to pull back. Probably doesn't have his tap just yet. Kael'thas coming up to check on the boss. And both teams heading to their siege camp once again. And by the way, let's just talk real quick here. Let's see if we can find one. Nobody's on their mounts. We'll come back, check out this siege camp over here. And there it is. It's the Thralla Bills, y'all. If you haven't purchased your Thralla Bills or Thrall Bills or whatever they're called, it's only a measly 12k gold. And what else are you doing with your gold these days, right? Siege camp's coming in. They are going to meet here, and again, possession the choice from Sylvanas, so she's able to help flip some of the regular minions, but certainly doesn't help them with the siege. As both teams picking up level 10 here, we see Tyrande coming in with the Starfall, helping to clear out the siege camp. So now their siege camp for Zul'jin Distillery will come in, and we see Beefresh there making use of that wall to keep his inner beast going, keep that auto attack speed bonus moving forward there. And Johanna coming in, possibly looking to try to catch somebody, but they don't have really enough damage to kill somebody with that engage, with just the Sylvanas, and definitely not with the healers there as well. It looks like the next fight is coming up into the top lane. Both teams kind of moving about, trying to do so subtly, although a little bit of a pass there as they see each other across the island. Checking in bot lane here once again. Just a little bit behind is the Blaze on the soak having to pull them a little bit closer to his base there to make use of the tower to provide additional damage. Once again, right back onto this camp. And it looks like maybe ProBUs is going to come in and try to get onto the objective first. Looks like maybe there's a little bit of a discussion happening between one side and the next. Not really sure what Sylvanas' arrows were doing. Kind of heading off to the north. Alright, let's put these away. We can see all these ultimates. But let's make sure we got a nice wide field of vision for this fight, because we see everybody's kind of spread out. They're starting to come together here. And the siege camp now only up for Zul'jin Distillery. This is the first time that they have their camp available that ProBUs hasn't had theirs on the map as well. So Johanna going deep into the team needs to be maybe a little bit careful, as the rest of ProBUs pulling back here going to take care of this siege camp. That's going to give, at least for the moment, a quick taunt onto Badgerlord there. The combo coming in with the gravity lapse and the lunar flare, but bunker coming down. That's going to give a little bit of armor. Here comes the stay a while, and listen, there goes Blaze with that jet propulsion, but Varian looking for Aruba, instead chasing after now the Li Ming, but no kills out of that. Jet propulsion going in onto the Misha, and a lunar flare getting one more stack there as the Ruby Potion's coming out. Level 13s here as well for Zul'jin Distillery. So they're going to take that and try to press their advantage by getting the prison camp. But ProBUs says, we're not done yet. Blaze in a little bit of danger, but it's actually Bfresh who's going to fall. The second kill of this game, 9 minutes in, as Ankle Shot getting the channel, not stalled out there by anybody. So Misha going to fall as we see there. Blaze in the corner is going to back as the Grunt's going to cancel this channel out for the moment. And here we go. 1 kill to 1 kill. And it looks like maybe Probe is thinking, let's come down, gather this soak, try to get 13. Are they looking for... No, they're not looking for boss. They're just going to head over here and get the prison camp going. But again, Zul'jin Distillery on this siege camp. That's going to give them a lot of value in this fight here. They have the 13s. Look at that. Stay a while's back up. Almost all of the ults are back up except for the Starfall and the Wailing Arrow. And both teams are now level 13. We see the super pots there from Deckard. So Deckard's going to provide a lot of healing potential if his team moves to do so. There's the jet propulsion from Blaze. Gets the stun and kill onto Misha. But the taunt going out onto Johanna. She doesn't have Iron Skin, so it is going to be enough to have her fall there. Not quite getting into the bunker there as Blaze gonna have to pull back, use jet propulsion to get away here. But Desda running away from the Greymane below. And Varian saying, I'm not done with you. Come back here. Siege Camp, however, is still pressuring in the mid lane. ProBUs gonna have to do their best to clean that up as the channel once again beginning for Zul'jin Distillery. 24 seconds to go. Johanna will be up, but not really in enough time to comfortably get down here, initiate a fight. So ProBUs has to decide, are they going to defend the rush here, or are they going to go in early? It looks like they're going to go in maybe even a little bit late, especially with the team split. There's the combo onto Johanna, and it didn't matter. That was just a quick burn with the combo. And at level 13, what did Varian take? So he actually took Juggernaut. So not looking to take that shattering throw, not worried about the shield potential from Johanna. Just basically saying, I'm going to do extra damage to you. I'm going to do that extra 4% of your total health each time I cast Juggernaut. Now, the age-old question for Varians at level 10 there is, do you want to reduce your parry procs, right? You get 2 stacks, but it reduces it to 1 and gives you full protect. Or do you want to keep the 2 stacks and have the shorter cooldown on your charge, which at level 13, taking that Juggernaut gives you that 4% more often. It also allows you to charge to allies, which is rather nice as well. Lots of potions. There's the taunt, there's the stun, and once again, Johanna just getting deleted by this combo. Greymane with the Cursed Bullet, and there's just nothing to be done. And the first keep of the game about to go down here in the bot lane. Mid lane and top were both cleared up, so that looks like probably all Zul'jin Distillery is going to get out of this immediate push. And I think right now, it's kind of, ProBUs should maybe just let that go. Rather than killing it, because now Zildjian Distillery is heading down to this boss, and if they let that cavalry go, they have some time. They could have let it, you know, even hang out on the core, because the core regenerates. But now this boss almost certainly, well, it kind of depends. If they let the boss go and neither team does anything with it, the boss does absolutely nothing. Like, the boss won't kill the core by itself. But if they push with it, so if ProBUs Drift doesn't defend it and Zildjian Distillery goes heavy on the offense, then it becomes a problem. So it looks like both teams going to do as kind of expected here. We're going to see Greymane clearing up in the mid, which is a little surprising. He's their primary burn on this. Seeing Greymane in the middle gives ProBUs the go-ahead here. They know this is a 4v4. Li Ming has Wave of Force, so she can knock back a little bit. Not very far. There's the combo coming out from her. Stun onto Johanna. There's the sleep coming in from Deckard. Might be enough. It's not quite there, as Desda there gets the Cursed Bullet, and Greymane coming in, just finishing off the Deckard. And now that will give them the boss. The bottom boss here will die in just a few moments, but having two people dead and the core dropping its health here with this top boss and objective coming up, the cards are stacking against ProBUs Drift at the moment. They are, however, on the same talent tiers now, so the next fight, if they get this opportunity, they've got Deckard, they've got Johanna coming up. They need to look for a fight to get some heroes down here. We see that Banner of Dalaran coming down. Such a great ability. 20 spell power, but at level 20 it gets even better. There's that combo once again on Johanna. The taunt, the stun, the Cursed Bullet, and Johanna just getting punished. And the cavalry coming in here in 18 seconds with no Johanna, and this top fort about to go down. There's no minion wave, so they can back away. This'll all but certainly go down to the next cavalry here. But it looks like Zildjian Distillery is not done. They want to take this siege camp as well, and it's just in time as the cavalry is going to flip over to their side. And this is a difficult place here for ProBUs. They've got a siege camp plus the cavalry in the mid lane. They've got a very low top keep with the cavalry coming straight in. The one kind of good thing for them is that at least the minion waves are somewhat staggered, so they can defend a little bit based on that. We'll see, however, if it's enough. Greymane can do a lot of damage to a core, and it's already down 40 armor. There's just this lone fort left to provide that 20 armor to the Drekthar core here. Hey, Wind Up, good to see you. There's that combo once again onto Johanna, and just every single time, there's just nothing they can do about it. But they get the counter kill onto Greymane. Is that enough to save them here? Jet Propulsion coming out from Blaze. He doesn't have a lot of mana, so he's in kind of a tough spot now. And Aruba here trying to do the damage, that Sylvanas damage, take out the Misha, help eliminate one of the stuns, the core falling to about 80%, but this core does not, it regenerates. So it doesn't matter how much damage you do to it if they can survive. There's the taunt onto Sylvanas, and they get the kill onto Varian. So 2 kills might be enough. Can they, however, get this kill onto Kael'thas? They're looking for it. Jet Propulsion coming out, but the fort will block him out. But it doesn't matter. Kael'thas goes down. The Lunar Flare hitting onto 2 is going to be enough. Maybe is Rexar going back in? Okay. But the cavalry coming in, the core already very low, and it's enough. They baited out the team just long enough. Game number 1 going over to Zildjian Distillery. Eight kills to 4. Not a high kill count game. This was a game that was effective by getting single hero kills, and it was almost always the Johanna. It feels bad to be the person getting killed 6 times, but there was nothing that Johanna could do. At that point, it's not so much Johanna. And for what it's worth, I kind of wonder if they had looked at the Lunara instead of the Sylvanas in that last pick. Obviously, that changes a little bit about their draft, but they get a cleanse. And 100% of what Zul'jin Distillery wanted to do was taunt into stun with a curse bullet in there. And one cleanse negates all of that, especially on Johanna, because then she pops her shield and she's out. So, you know, maybe that's a thing to think about for the next round. If the bans go the same way, if the draft starts out the same way, you know, maybe you look at that extra hero, that because I think she's the only one with a hero cleanse that's not a healer class. Not 100% positive of that, but I think so. All right, we're going to take just a brief moment here while the teams get set up for game number 2 between Zul'jin Distillery and ProBUs Drift Cannon Rush. Be right back.
My blade is ready to be unleashed.
Ignorance will be your undoing. No one can stop me.
You want original or extra crispy? Smells like victory. Nexus shall tremble.
All right, and we are back. Welcome back. We are heading now to game number 2. Let's take a look at where we're going, what we're doing, where we've been. At the beginning of the map here, or the match rather, Zul'jin Distillery, they banned out the Battlefield of Eternity and Volskaya Foundry, while ProBUs banned out Dragonshire and Tomb of the Spider Queen. Our first map there was on Alterac Pass. It was the pick and won by Zul'jin Distillery. And I believe this was picked by ProBUs. Just making sure here. But that's how it's showing. Yes, okay, confirmed. It is in fact picked by the ProBUs. Correct. Checking in on those standings here. Why don't we go ahead and update those now, since we do have a point. Zildjian taking their first point of the series so far here. Get rid of that 0 down at the bottom. 1 point away from finding themselves into the semifinals against Bunker Funtime. Excuse me. Again, if you missed it earlier, just in case, I see that a few of you are coming into the stream now. This is where we are looking at for our teams from Division D East. So Zildjian Distillery, the rank 1 team, 31 points. ProBUs Drift coming in with 14. And it looks like one team's ready. It looks like the other team's ready. Hopefully they'll hit the button. So there we go. We'll get into the draft here and see what we get. See what kind of changes these teams elect to make as we get into game number 2, Infernal Shrines. Our first pick going over to the side of Zildjian Distillery, as this was the map selection of ProBUs. So we'll maybe we'll see some different bands. Obviously, we saw a whole lot of tank bands in the last game. Maybe they leave those up. Maybe they instead say, you know what, let's focus something else. Maybe they go into the healers. Maybe they look at more specific pain in the neck damage dealer. But ultimately, they need some wave clear. They need to have a strong solo laner, maybe a double soaker, depending on who they've got in the pocket. They're going to go ahead and get rid of Varian, so they said, you know what, let's just get rid of that combo. We don't need to have a cleanse if they don't have the Varian taunt combo, right? Well, the bad news is there's still plenty of opportunities for Zildjian Distillery to have that stun chain combo. They could go into the ETC. They could go into Garrosh, potentially, with a taunt there. They could go into Johanna. But it is going to be Ragnaros. And the second ban here for ProBUs. Who's it going to be? Could be a Diablo. That's who they banned second last game. I think it's more likely ETC. It's either ETC or Johanna, most likely. And there it is. Hey, welcome 7th Ace and everybody from 7th Ace's stream to, I don't know, the Aero stream, I guess. I don't have a special name for coming and watching me. It is going to be Johanna as the first pick. So Johanna being the first pick now for both games. Switching sides with our first selection here. And she's a strong hero. She's probably the most picked hero in all of NGS, if I had to wager a guess, just based off of past history. And Spectrama PC. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying the show. We got Blaze going to be the main tank this time, it looks like. Hirobi going right back. Actually, it's showing Hirobi on Sylvanas instead of Aruba. Okay. So getting some switching around of the characters. Same characters, different people playing them. I think I know... I think I have some ideas here. So Led's going into the Stukov. So, okay. So what do they look like? What do they want to take here? So I want to say that there might be a Mephisto potentially. Jaina gets a lot of value here, but Mephisto could potentially work against what they've got for now. Orphea potentially even, right? Orphea's seeing a lot more play. There's the Rexar ban. It could be a Leoric or a Chen coming out from the solo lane on the side of ProBUs. Van Gazlo. Is that happening? Is that a thing? I don't think that's happening. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. 696 picks, says 7th Ace on Johanna. Absolutely bonkers. And the last ban of game number 2 going to be Kel'Thuzad. Okay, all right. Not one of the mages I was thinking of, but I could see that. I could see how that would be a rough one to deal with there. So we're going to see probably the healer, I would guess. And maybe there's the... All right, so we're going into Rhaegar. So we could see another auto attacker here. Maybe they look to go into the Bloodlust. And Raynor was going to be my pick there, and not a big surprise. I think maybe now, maybe they go in... I think they go into that Chen. I guess we'll see. I don't know. But that's the direction I think they're going. We've got Kael'thas, we got Stukov, we got Johanna. So we need a solo laner. Could be the Leoric, could be the... Oh, Sonya would be a really good pickup here, especially with the stun chain that they've already got. Imperius also an A+ pick there, and Tychus going to be the last one to round out the Zul'jin Distillery combo here. Imperius doesn't... Okay, I was wrong. All right, so is it Judgment or is it Sanctification? I don't know. Either one. Sanctification could be really good because it gives them what they didn't have last time, which was a way to protect just literally everybody. They had the bunker, but bunker just, you know, you can't get into it if you're taunted. But Sanctification, that'll work. And there's still a fair bit of a stun chain, especially with Imperius. Imperius does so much damage with the right build. All right, here we go. This game is loading up. It's going very quickly. Doesn't look like we have any DCs right out of the gate, hopefully. Fingers crossed. That looks like 10-year marriage. What? Oh. Wow. Gotcha. I get it. Okay, I see where you're going with this. Game number 2. We'll start over here with the probes this time. On the right, it's ProBUs Drift Cannon Rush. We got Chaos Tank on the Blaze, Desda on the Rhaegar, Aruba doing a little dance action there on the Raynor, Tyrael going to be played by Badgerlord, and Hirobi there on the Sylvanas. On the left, it's Zul'jin Distillery looking to close this out. We got Led on Stukov, Ankle Shot playing the Kael'thas, D-Wit on the Johanna, Cowboy Kyle playing the Imperius there, and B-Fresh on Tychus. All right, so this is going to be an interesting matchup. I mean, the stun chain combo is still there, potential with the Gravity Lapse, with the Celestial Charge, a little bit of a maybe the Blessed Shield. But we could see the Sanctification, and I think that's likely the pick here. Blaze going to get caught by a couple of stuns there, uses the Pyromania, trying to stay alive with that 40 armor, but just so very slow, thanks to the Stukov. And First Blood going very quickly this game. Last game, it took quite some time. It was a few minutes, but this game, not so lucky. So we're going to see that first wave of XP picked up, but it's early. That kill netted them what, 70 XP? All right, 300 XP, so less than a minion wave. Not even 2/3 of a minion wave. Blaze is going to jet propulsion right through there, try to get the XP in that mid lane, but that's going to leave the rest of the team having to take a little bit of a defensive route as all of the Zul'jin Distillery rotating down, going to pick up the bottom camp here. While ProBUs, they're going to hold on and get their own siege camp. And Blaze heading down there, taking a peek there, but it's too late to check out onto that bottom camp. So while we have a moment, we'll give a little bit of showcase time to our solo laners here. Looks like Raynor heading into the mid lane. You can see on the minimap the pressure coming in from Raynor. He's actually going to come up here. Blaze, however, getting a big stun on Johanna, so Johanna taking a bunch of tower shots. Going to fall a bit low there. But that tower is going to go down, so a lot of value. Raynor pulling back now, coming down. Originally, I thought maybe going toward the mid, but with the Tychus clearing up the camp, may instead come in to help out, and looks like just going to gather that soak. So checking back up here, in the top lane with Imperius and Tyrael. Now, what a 1v1 that is. Tyrael versus Imperius. But checking in on this siege camp, it looks like we're going to try to get an invade. We got Tychus coming from the other range. He is going to get that full minigun onto Blaze, and Blaze is going to get caught by the grenade. And second kill of the game here for Zul'jin Distillery. It took 9 minutes for the second kill of game number 1. And it equaled out the kills here. So far now, this is 2-0 for Zul'jin Distillery as they're working on all of the camps. They got their siege camp thanks to that kill, preventing the invade, and heading up to get the Shaman camp to go in the top lane, while this first Punisher of the game, it's going to be a Mortar Punisher coming up here in just a moment. But that leaves ProBUs a brief moment of interlude here to get some damage onto the camp, but also to get started on the shrine here. So we did get Exterminator out of Raynor, so he's able to clear the minions pretty quickly. Sylvanas also has pretty decent clear. Really, Kael'thas is the main clear on the other side here. Zul'jin Distillery, you know, the Tychus doesn't do great. Every once in a while he can throw out his Q, as we can see he's doing there. But that's the bulk of it here. Jet Propulsion coming in, but the Celestial Charge is going to land. Kael'thas going to get a Living Bomb and a Flame Strike onto Blaze, and that's going to be another kill going over to Zul'jin Distillery, as 13-21 the count here. Blaze will be back in 10 seconds, but with Zul'jin Distillery having the level 7 and now taking the lead on the Skeletal Defenders, this looks like it'll be the first Punisher of the game going over to the XGD. Meanwhile, ProBUs hoping that they can put a little bit of pressure out there, get a little bit of XP by having that Shaman camp moving on while this Punisher is coming out. And level 7's up now for both teams. Want to check in here. Is this quarterback? It is. So Tychus going to have that extra range on his grenades. Looking for the pull. Blaze gets it pulled over the wall here. Doesn't have that unstoppable yet. Only 5 stacks out of the 15 globes required to get that. But they do have the cleanse from Rhaegar. So we've got a couple of unstoppables between Sylvanas, ultimately Rhaegar, Blaze. A lot of ways for ProBUs to get out of dangerous circumstances if they use them at the right times. Bottom camp is back available, so Zul'jin is going to make their way onto this bottom camp and keep that map pressure going here. But up at the top lane, Imperius very low, as Tyrael getting the full value out of his shields there. Helping to pressure this lane up, getting a little bit of value. Not a ton of wall damage, but it'll get there. Meanwhile, in the bot lane here, both teams level 8, so they still have a little ways to go before level 10. Tychus, however, able to get full minigun value, and the Condemn pulling the Blaze back in. And that's another kill. This time, Kael'thas logging the kill. Mid lane here, the siege camp getting caught up by the minions. Tyrael has a brief moment here to try to kill out these minions as Imperius went back. But now with this wall down, he was leading the charge, coming in trying to say, hey, let's get this healing well. That'd make it a lot easier to get that next Punisher, which, by the way, is going to be an Arcane Punisher. Hey, 8-bit, thanks for 8-bit, thanks for fixing that. Right, so Blaze saying hello to Tychus. Tychus has been an absolute terror to Blaze this game, has been able to really put the pressure on with that minigun. We'll have to see if that changes at 10. So we do have some ultimates here for Zul'jin Distillery, and we see him rotating around, looking for the kill. They're going to come in around behind the Blaze. He does get pulled in by the Condemned, slowed by that the Punish. And Blessed Shield as well as the Gravity Lapse, and that's going to be one more on the Blaze there. Having a difficult night of it here. Level 10 coming up now for ProBUs. So what do we got? Stukov going into Flailing Swipe. We got Angelic Armaments for the Imperius. Kael'thas taking the Phoenix, of course. Angelic Armaments for Imperius. I already said that. Draken Laser Drill there for Tychus. And Blessed Shield for Johanna. And meanwhile, for the ProBUs team, we've got Bloodlust from Rhaegar. It's going to be Bunker again for Blaze. It's going to be Judgment for Tyrael. Wailing Arrow there for Sylvanas, and Hyperion for Raynor. There's the Blaze jet propulsion. So first... Actually, that's not the first fort. Sorry, they took the fort down at the bottom. So second fort here for Zul'jin Distillery. And we'll see how this goes now. So starting to get into a little bit of a macro pressure circumstance in favor of Zul'jin Distillery. They're able to keep these lanes pushed up. And ProBUs getting onto this as quickly as they can. This is all on the same talent tier, so they want to get as many of these as they can. Kind of force Zul'jin Distillery to come in to their fight. And there's a lot of dive potential with that Tyrael. Tyrael going into the backline here. There's Imperius getting the charge onto Chaos Tank, and Bloodlust hitting just about everybody, but Tyrael kind of all by himself in the back there, getting caught by the Tychus, as they eventually do kind of just turn around and say, hey, you're out by yourself here. We can take you out. So Blaze ultimately does make it out of this one thanks to the bunker. That's going to give the rest of this Punisher over to Zul'jin Distillery. And this is coming into a keep, straight into the keep. The fort already taken down. No keep wall damage, so it is going to give ProBUs the opportunity then to defend that a little bit better. Noting that, of course, they have a little bit more health on the keep walls and structure itself. And once again, picking up the Shaman Camp to try to keep that pressure. That's going to force Imperius to go back, try to gather that soak, but also to deal with that Shaman Camp. So cleaning up in the mid lane, we've got the Siege Camp nice and dead. And here comes the defense. ProBUs down a talent tier, but they have all 5 of their team here for this defense. Blaze not quite have the doesn't have the new habits completed, needs a couple more globes still. But this Punisher falling very quickly, already under half. They pulled it a little bit away from the keep, so the keep isn't able to shoot it there. So it gets a double stun here. Is there any follow-up? The Blessed Shield coming out, Gravity Lapse missed, but the bunker coming out after jet propulsion there, just basically to give him the armor, give him the disengage for the moment there. He is going back in there trying to keep that armor going, but very far away from the healer. As Blaze going to get caught and taken out there by Stukov, had that pustule and able to hit the weighted pustule and get that kill. And with that kill, even though this is a 4v5 here in the bot lane, with that 13 advantage, it's ultimately going to give the keep over to Zul'jin Distillery. ProBUs just having a really difficult time engaging into the team as it is right now. They do have the potential with that Judgment and Jet Propulsion, but the Condemn coming out with the slow from Stukov is going to allow them the kill onto Sylvanas. So that's going to be a staggered death, as we do have now 4 members of ProBUs back on the map. Blaze coming back in. There's the Judgment onto Johanna, but Johanna basically just walking out. And the Pan coming in from Stukov, ultimately giving them the go-ahead to get that kill onto Tyrael. Cowboy Kyle now walking in onto Blaze, and there we see that big burst damage potential coming out of the Imperius, especially onto these tanks. This Celestial Charge build is just crazy, right? Reducing the cooldown, increasing the damage, doing additional damage to nearby, also giving him a shield, and then what does this one do? Reduces their movement speed and their damage. So, you know, landing that stun to begin with is already really challenging for the enemy to deal with. But when you add on all these extra layers of damage and slows and reduced damage and everything, Imperius becomes just a nightmare. And make it another talent here, so some movement speed and attack speed for Imperius. And that's going to be really important, because I expect we'll see the level 20 that, assuming we get to 20, but I expect we'll see the level 20 that keeps the Valorous brand on a target. It no longer expires when you hit somebody. And if that happens, that auto attack speed, that increased movement speed, gives Imperius the opportunity to just destroy a hero with the one after the other auto attacks. And it doesn't matter who you are. Seeing various sprays out here on the map. We got top lane fort going down here from Zul'jin Distillery. Ultimately, ProBUs doing what they can to try to get any XP, get any camps on the map that they can to try to give some pressure in these lanes or counter the catapult pressure that's coming in from Zul'jin Distillery. But really, they need that level 16 to get that additional, really significant burst in their talents here. And they're a fair bit away. I mean, they're still 75% of a level here away from getting that. And I think ideally right now they could have potentially even just pushed down this bottom fort. Yeah, that doesn't get them tons, but it continues to get them trickle XP and also some counter pressure, at least a little bit. There's the gravity lapse onto Sylvana. She is able to get away thanks to that haunting wave, but here comes the Bloodlust. Badger in deep is going to fall to that Imperious, so using trait value. And we've got Cowboy Kyle, however, just getting shredded by Hirobi. Take it 1 for 1 so far. Blind coming in from Johanna as Deza going in with the Rhaegar bite. And Johanna chasing down the Rhaegar, but it's Chaos Tank and Hirobi falling very low here. Be Fresh getting tons of damage onto Sylvanas, but she's able to get out of there. Does Blaze survive? I don't know that he does. He doesn't. I think he was looking for that flame... flame suppression is a talent. He was looking... Oh. Oh, feels bad. You feel like you're juking left and juking right, and you're getting everywhere that you need to be to get away, and then suddenly you get smacked in the face by a Stukov arm. 8-Bit out here with the optimism says, listen, probes, they got him with that false sense of security. Well, 16 is available here. Blessed Shield coming out onto 2 with a big subdue slow. Rhaegar all but toast here, I think. Gets silenced. Maybe makes it out. Never mind. ProBUs going to be able to disengage that as Badger making use of that smite to help Rhaegar get away from that damage. So good on them to be able to get away, but the Punisher is coming in the mid lane. This is a frozen Punisher, so it pretty much will be able to finish this all by itself. So the Probe's trying to defend up in the top lane. Does get the Unstoppable there thanks to new habits. And is there anything else they can do? Tyrael dodging there the Celestial Charge here. Does go in deep. Needs the rest of the team to follow up if that's what they in fact want to do. And Tychus now starting to take some of the damage from the towers. 25 armor penalty, but ProBUs recognizing this Punisher is still just going to town. Coming down to see if they can't get to work on this. And big stun there coming in from Blaze here. Angelic Armaments looking for a target, and it's going to be Blaze. Just, oh man, the quarterback shot knocking Chaos Tank out of the Angelic Armaments likely saves his life. And that's just enough to keep probes in this game. Chaos Tank coming back in. There's the Judgment onto Kael'thas, but Stukov coming in with the Flailing Swipe, going to keep Tyrael away. And Bfresh looking for the Rainer, but now has the target of Tyrael here, able to just go to town with that minigun. And level 20 is coming up in just a moment here for Zul'jin Distillery as DeWitt's going to go ahead and back away. Zul'jin Distillery just going to push in the lanes, keep the catapults coming in as they have all 3 lanes to the core pressured open. And the next Punisher is up in the top lane. It's going to be a Mortar Punisher. So timing these camps might give them some extra value because there's really... ProBUs has to fight it. They cannot let Zul'jin Distillery get this next Punisher. It'll be the end of the game. So they definitely need to get as much XP here as they can. The good thing in that regard is at least the minions are on their side of the map, so they're able to pick up the XP relatively safely. Although we are seeing here Zul'jin Distillery is setting up a little bit of a bush gank. They're looking here. They've got the Blaze in their sights, maybe. Coming in, they're going to be able to cut off the Sylvanas and Tyrael, both of which are able to skip over them, so have to be a little bit careful of the positioning. There's the Jet Propulsion coming in, and there's Bloodlust looking for Rainer. Rainer's got to dump it in. Is getting that into Johanna. The blind coming out onto Rhaegar, but the Celestial Charge onto Blaze. He is going to get the cleanse, so he's getting away. Angelic Armaments maybe looking for Tyrael here. As Tychus going crazy here on the Sylvanas. Which of them wins? Well, it's definitely going to be Tychus in that case, but Tychus falling there shortly after. Rhaegar going to fall the next, though, as the Draken Laser Drill going to town on the Raynor. We see here the Judgment going out onto Kael'thas, but again, Stukov with that flailing swipe able to knock Tyrael away, but Tyrael gets the kill onto Kael'thas, but it doesn't matter. The core already has no shielding, and it's just Raynor and Blaze to try to stall it out. There are no more catapults, though, so maybe they can do it. The roots coming in from the core, there's not a lot of damage here, so they just have to be able to get the kills here. 25%, it's getting close. They get the kill onto the Blaze, and the stun onto Raynor, and it's gonna be enough as Raynor getting that kill right at the end with the core onto Imperius, but it's not enough. Stukov, Johanna, they finish the game out. That's going to give us a 2-0 victory in favor here of Zul'jin Distillery. They will carry on to face off against Bunker Fun Time in the semifinals. We're going to go ahead and do an interview. We got some time for that. And then at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, we actually have our next match coming up between amateur opponents and Can't Counterpick Stupid, so make sure you stick around for that. Give us a moment as we look to get our interviewee. Hopefully so. Well, we'll come back to this while we look for DeWitters. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Here we go.
Gotcha. So we are joined by DeWitt and Ankle Shot. Welcome, guys. So congratulations on your victory, and it looked like you did your homework there. How does it feel to defeat ProBUs, and how'd you guys do against them in the regular season? Like, just give us a little bit of an overview of what we're looking at here.
We played them week 2, I think, or it was a flex in week 1. I can't remember. It was very, very early on. We got a 2-0 on them, and since then they've really improved a ton. Like, they're a new team. They got a lot better throughout the season.
Sure, for sure. So, so how's the team feeling about their position in the standings, in the playoffs, what you guys have left? Like, how do you guys feel about where you're going and what you've done so far?
We feel pretty great about it. It's first, like, we've had this roster 4 or 5 seasons now. I think 4. No, it is 5, I think. And this is the first time we've gotten first seed, and it's the first time we've gone undefeated in a regular season. So, best season we've had, really.
Yeah, we're cautiously optimistic about the future playoffs.
Well, and I think cautiously optimistic is a fantastic way to put it, because we saw in Div C yesterday, or maybe it was 2 days ago, a rank 1 team that was undefeated in the regular season fall to the rank 8 seed. So definitely gotta do your homework, be prepared, and treat every single game like it's potentially your last if you don't play it right. So you guys did a fantastic job tonight talking about preparation. So you had some bans out there. You really focused on that Mal'Ganis and the Ragnaros. I mentioned a couple things about the Ragnaros and Mal'Ganis, just a strong hero. You know, tell us a little bit about what you looked at when you were preparing for this team. What were some of the things that you said, hey, let's make sure that we, you know, focus on this or avoid doing that? Tell me about that kind of stuff.
I think as far as scouting goes, Mal'Ganis is a pretty clear standout. Like, I think anyone could have looked at their stats and been like, oh yeah, let's get rid of Mal'Ganis because he was 100% win rate for them. Their other tanks were all 50% or under. So I think he helped them focus their abilities and stuff a lot with the sleeps and get those blow ups. So we just want to get rid of that. And kind of same with Ragnaros. They've been running this Sulfurous Smash, big combo, wombo combo stuff that I just didn't want to. I didn't want them to get off like a sick combo and turn a game on its head.
So, you know, that's interesting that you say that, because what you were trying to avoid is exactly what you did in game 1, right? You were trying to avoid them taking that Johanna Blessed Shield into a Sulfurous Smash combo, but you said, we got our own version of that. We got Varian plus Tyrande plus Gravity Lapse plus Greymane. And, you know, was that something... I've seen you guys play. I've seen you play that comp, you know, several times. So that's not necessarily new or fresh, you know, by any means, but it's certainly tried and true. Do you have things kind of held back that is going to be new and exciting for the rest of the playoffs? And you obviously don't tell us what it is, but, you know.
Yeah, we've been experimenting with a couple of things, but I think for the most part, we're kind of just trying to make sure we play our game, and it got us this far, so
yeah, I think
takes the distance.
Yeah, I think we've put out like enough diverse things. Like throughout the season, we've played, you know, a ton of combos, if not just like a good bit of comfort heroes. So at this point, I think you have at least 4 or 5 things you want to ban against us that, you know, you just can't cover all your bases. So I don't think we have to be sneaky or try anything that we haven't, you know, tested pretty thoroughly in NGS. But we might throw a couple of heroes or a little bit different angle at the next match.
Cowboy Kyle says, don't tell him about D.Va.
Kyle, shh.
Fair enough. And I'm sure Majesty's out there, you know, with the offlane Morales from last season or 2 seasons ago. So you guys are probably one of the more veteran teams in NGS. Like you said, ProBUs was a fairly new team. You know, there's a pretty significant amount of new teams overall. At least the names are somewhat unfamiliar to me that are in the division. So how does that affect you as a team, knowing that you're kind of, there's a lot of information and data about you guys because you do have a very familiar roster when you're playing against teams that are newer? Do you do anything differently, or do you just kind of say, you know what, we're going to scout this team and just play our game?
Yeah, I think we haven't changed our approach too much. Obviously, the scouting is a little bit harder for DeWitt with a lower game sample, but I think this season we've focused a little bit more on just making sure that we're playing what we like to play and that we execute on it.
Sure. Well, it looked really well. It looked like it went really well, especially in game number 1. Obviously, the kill count in game number 2 was higher, but it felt like game number 1, you guys had a lot more control just everywhere. You know, it was 8 kills to 4 in game number 1. You certainly had more multi-kills and things like that in game number 2, but 8 kills to 4, that's a low kill count game on a map where you do have a fair bit of fighting over control points, which honestly there wasn't that much because you just got those kills. So you could definitely see the veteran levels of patience and communication in making sure that you took those fights that you wanted, and ultimately gave Chaos Tank probably the worst day of his life. Like, just like I have to say, I feel bad for Chaos Tank because it was just, hello, I'm Johanna, dead. Like, it was just nothing that Johanna could do.
Yeah, there's something really fun about running that tank blow up, because there's definitely an element of shock and awe when Johanna's there and then she's not. because
And it was fast.
Yeah, it's a rare composition that can do that.
Yeah.
You just don't see it that much, so it's kind of shocking when you do.
So your guys' next opponents here, who was it again? Bunker Fun Time. Any thoughts? Any is this something you guys are prepared for already? Anything you want to say about them before we get close to wrapping up here?
I think we played them towards the end of the season, so I think we have some pretty fresh memories. Although, I think they might have been locked into the 3 or 4 seed at that point. So I don't know. We don't necessarily know if they showed us everything that they had in that match. So
sure,
definitely you have to keep an eye out on them.
Tempest Jet, for real, I was mashing my D. That was Chaos Tank. All right, well, the last question I always ask is, and either of you can answer this, or both of you if you have something specific. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. It's hard for me to answer this question, but is there any particular moment from either game or both games that you want to highlight that you thought was a particularly just great moment that, whether it was caught on stream or not, I don't know, but, anything you want to make sure gets called out as a highlight? And it can be either side and either team, something that was done, you, somebody else on your team, anything specific?
What are you thinking, Ryan?
Yeah, it's hard to think of any one particular moment. I think that we were a little bit nervous in the boss pit in game 1, but luckily we just kind of held our ground and made sure that the invading team didn't take us off of the boss. That was maybe, I guess, a small pivotal moment that I think helped us secure the victory there.
Yeah,
I think my favorite moment was Be Fresh not DCing anymore.
Yes.
He DC'd in the quick match before the game, and then he DC'd before the game, and I was like, oh no. This is how it's gonna go, isn't it?
Yeah, and of course, I'm sitting here going, I have an 11 o'clock cast. I kind of did some swindling to be able to pick this up, and kind of massage, gave a massage to Smiley and said, hey, can I pick this up? And then of course it's first thing the game loads, Be Fresh is out. 60 seconds later, Hirobi drops, and I'm like, of course this is when I have an 11 o'clock cast. Of course.
Yeah.
So fun times. Listen, guys, it's been absolutely great. I hope you guys do well in the rest of the playoffs. Before we take off, any shout outs you'd like to make, the floor is yours.
Yep. Shout out to Nutcracker. He is our 6th player. Didn't play much this season, but he was there when we needed him, so big thanks to him. Shout out to ProBUs for a good game, putting on fun games. It's always fun playing them. Either ProBUs team, all the ProBUses. And shout out to Ripper for helping us with coaching stuff. And shout out to you for casting. Ryan?
Yeah. I just want to say thanks for the cast. I will say that when pressed with who my favorite NGS caster was, it was you, Aero. So I appreciate your knowledge on the game.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And if you didn't catch it today, there's the NGS survey that just came out. I believe they're putting together the caster survey as well. So, just to remind everybody that'll be coming out. You can choose your typically 3 favorite casters, and then they'll rank based on the number of votes. So don't forget to do that. Obviously, we all appreciate your consideration for votes. I do want to shout out there, DeWitt. You've got something coming up here for the off season. You want to take a quick second and tell people about what's going on there?
Oh yeah, we'll be doing the Zoljan Distillery Invitational Season 5. And the team list is still being made, but we will need a lot of casters, and by casters, I mean anyone who's willing to give their time to watch some HOTS, usually really, really close games. So if you've considered casting, I haven't done it before, but you want to try it out, I would love to get a DM and set you up.
Awesome. And that's a fun time. We've played in the Zul'jin Distillery. I've cast certainly some of the matches as well. And it's primarily a group of Division C and D teams usually. DeWitt does a great job putting that on, and it's something for people to do kind of in the off season and still keep the competitive edge going. So thanks for doing that. And again, good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Yep.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right, so that's going to wrap us up for this game, but in 14 minutes, we're going to come right back. We're going to be catching a matchup between amateur opponents and Can't Counterpick Stupid, Division C West. Oh, we got some alpha time. We're going to come back to that Butte because she's asleep, but I'll come back to that in a minute. But amateur opponents and Can't Counterpick Stupid, I believe they're the number 1 and number 8 in C West. I'm also going to be joined by Lulu, who's going to be co-casting with me tonight. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a short bit. Thanks for sticking with us.